women in comedy. I started this project because I really love humor and I love to laugh, so I'm going to talk about what I learned today, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you don't, I'll probably cry. So. I want to start off by asking a couple of questions. So, I'm going to ask you guys, what does being a feminist mean? So, feel free to raise your hand or stay silent.
It means believing in equality for all genders.
Yes. Definition is the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of political, social, and economic equality of men, which means gender equality, which is so important to this project. So, my second question is, can a woman be funny and beautiful? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to learn the history of women in comedy and explore some of the stereotypes and stigma that exist today. So at the beginning of the project, I discovered an article by the writer named Christopher Hitchens, and it was published in the 2007 issue of the magazine Vanity Fair. So the article was called Why Women Aren't Funny, and he kind of just talks about how he doesn't really think that it's important socially for women to be funny, and that it looks better for a man to be funny as opposed to a woman. So I kind of like read this article, and it kind of made me angry and like a little bit upset, and I want to show you guys this quote that kind of sums up his opinion on this. In any case, my argument doesn't say that there are no decent women comedians. There are more terrible female comedians than there are terrible male comedians, but there are some impressive ladies out there. Most of them, though, when you come to review situations, are hefty or dykey or Jewish, or some combo of the three. So I read this and I was like, this guy is a 10 out of 10 human. So I was kind of inspired to learn more about this because some people do still believe this and some people don't. I kind of wanted to look at the history of how female comedians, came to become people like Tina Fey, and what older comedians had to work through for, people like Amy Poehler, Tina Fey to be popular now. So one of the pioneers of female stand-up is a comedian named Phyllis Diller. And Phyllis Diller is famous for several different things. Her jokes were usually self-deprecating, and she wore a lot of big, glamorous, zany costumes, as you can see here. She began working in the 1950s, and she was famous for telling jokes in kind of a rapid-fire manner. I watched a lot of clips of her, and I think she's very funny. She was popular because she kind of had this setup and payoff style of jokes, so they were really quick and fast. My favorite one-liner by her was, I was asked out by Burt Reynolds once. I was in his room. So she was very funny, and I liked her a lot. It was the 50s, so it was a lot different from modern times. And one of the reasons she wore these big, crazy costumes is because she wanted people to see her differently from that time's perception of a woman. She tried to change what women comedians could look like or say or do. Her jokes were self-deprecating, but her style made people pay attention to her humor and kind of desensitize people's ideas of women. Most modern characterizations of women at that point, not modern, in the 1950s, were kind of female, housewives and mothers on television and in movies. Pretty much all they showed. So Phyllis Diller changed standards and really helped put female comedians on the map. Standards and stereotypes were another thing I wanted to explore in this project. I talked to my friends and family, and I took a survey. And I took a survey of about 58 people. And the questions I asked were, can a woman be both funny and beautiful? Socially speaking, is a sense of humor more of an asset to women or to men? Which gender is funnier in general, men or women? Describe the kind of jokes or humor that appeals to you, and do you have any favorite female comedians? So most people responded, yes, a woman could be funny and beautiful. But most people, I found it interesting that most people responded to the second question, that it was more of an asset for men to be funny, and that one respondent put it that comedy was more of a men's game. So they felt it was just easier for them to become popular. I also, from the survey, discovered that we owe a lot to modern day comedy goddesses like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, like I mentioned earlier, and that they are kind of the icons for female comedians now. So what did I take away from all of my research so far is that it kind of boils down to internalized misogyny. So I found this comic online, which I kind of think shows it, and it's this like therapist guy who says, "Where do you think your misogyny stems from?" And then this guy who says, "Some women won't do it with me," which doesn't. Misogyny basically means that you have like hate of like women or females, and I think it's an unfortunate part of the perception of female comedians, just because there's a separation between male comedians and female comedians, and they're just a lot more popular or like well-known male comedians. And I think it draws back to Phyllis Diller, who had to like undermine her appearance to force the attention of her audience on her humor and kind of make them think not really make them think about what she looked like and what more humor is about. So that is what I've learned